I'm going to share with you the 5 things I do to go from sitting on the couch to race fit in the next 6 months. Even if I could only ride once per week, I could only train for less than an hour at a time, 3 times per week, all while being able to race a 3-hour enduro at race speed at the end of it, without arm pump, without cramping, without fading, or making stupid mistakes at the end of race day that would absolutely ruin my race day. So the first area is strength. So if we have a look at this video here, we're going to see a whole heap of riders smashing through the sand, which is very rough, very demanding on the body. So the stronger you can get yourself, the lighter you can get the bike to feel. So if you look at the bikes for these guys, they're probably 450s or 500s, weighing about 110 kilos. If you've got a bike at 110 kilos, and then you weigh 90 kilos, that's a total of 200 kilos that you need to be able to wrestle around for 3 hours. So have a look at these guys wrestling around 190, 200 kilos for however long they're racing for. It's a lot of weight through a really rough track, as we can see here. So racing feels really, really hard when you're not strong enough to ride the bike. And a lot of riders think that, oh, I've got a physical job, I'm a bricklayer, I'm pretty active, oh yeah, I go to the gym a little bit, yeah, I ride a bit, and they think that they're strong enough. And the truth is that most of them aren't. So strength is not about are you strong or not strong, it's how strong. So the stronger you can get yourself, the lighter you can make the bike feel and the less energy you'll use. You will know that you don't have adequate levels of strength on the bike because riding will feel really hard. You'll start to fade a lot towards the end of the races. When you crash or have to pick the bike up, it uses a lot of energy and you find it really hard to be able to recover. And then your riding skills start to go out the window. You start doing things on the bike that you know you shouldn't be doing and don't normally do when you're fresh. That's how you know that strength's a problem. When strength is fixed, when you have adequate levels of strength, you don't fade at the end of the race. You're able to maintain a consistent speed all the way through. When you crash or have to pick the bike up, it doesn't affect your skills or pace for the rest of the ride or the rest of the race. You can just pick up where you left off and be able to keep going. You don't use as much energy when you're having to wrestle the bike around through tough sections. So if we have a look here, this is using a lot of energy. So have a look at this bloke here on the Honda. He's using a lot of energy and a lot of strength there to try and wrestle the bike around. He's on the side of a hill, he's trying to get up, he's trying to see what the other guys are doing. Same with this bloke here, using lots and lots of energy to be able to get the bike up. If you've got the strength there, you can wrestle the bike around here, pick it up, and then pick up from where you left off and be able to keep going. So the best way to be able to do that is to get in the gym and to lift some weights. You can't be riding 3 or 4 times a week like some of these guys are. The second area is cardio. So cardio is your endurance. That's how long can I maintain this level of strength in my riding. You'll know that your cardio is poor is if you feel like you're strong enough on the bike at the start of the race and then you drop off very quickly as you start to go through the race. That's when you know that your cardio needs to be improved. If you're starting to get out of breath and your breathing gets a bit heavier, that's when you know that cardio is a problem. Racing without having good quality cardio means you get out of breath easy, you find you're always trying to suck in the big ones, you're looking for smooth lines on the track to be able to get you through the race. You keep making silly mistakes out on the track that you wouldn't normally make, and then they take more energy from you. And you'll notice that your skills and your speed start to drop off quite rapidly the longer you get through the race. So if you have a look at these guys, like for that guy there that just got past, we've got a quick ad break, you'll see that he just got past, and that is something that can happen when your cardio starts to drop off. It's easier just to let guys go past and not have that energy, not have that drive to be able to keep up with them. You're more in a survival mindset and way of thinking rather than thinking, hey, like I want to try and push and be able to get to the front, or at least at the very least be able to hold your spot. When you do have the cardio, again, you can be consistent with your strength all the way through the race and you're not getting out of breath. Like you can go through a tough section like these ones here. Maybe not for that guy, it's not going to require much energy jumping through the air, but for this guy here who's rolling over things, he's using a lot more energy. And it is quite a demanding track. So if you're using a lot of energy and your breathing is elevated, it's okay to have it elevated, but you want to make sure that you're able to still perform well and keep it elevated all the way through. If it gets to the point where it's so elevated that it starts to affect your riding, then you know that cardio is a problem. So having cardio means you'll definitely enjoy your riding and racing a lot more because you can ride how you want to ride rather than riding to try and save energy and not be out of breath. The third thing is nutrition. You can probably see some of these guys, I don't think they have packs, camelbacks on. Oh, there you go, they do. So you've got smaller ones there. That's a tough water section, isn't it? You wouldn't want to go too deep there. The reason that nutrition is important is nutrition is fuel for your muscles. It's like your bike. Like if you don't run your bike with fuel, it doesn't go anywhere, okay? And likewise, with fuel, there's different types of fuel. There's your 91 octane fuel, there's your race fuel, and then there's everything in between. Your body works the same way. If you don't put any fuel in it, it's not going to perform very well at all. But number two, if you're not putting the right type of fuel in, then it's also not going to have the best performance that it can have. And what I find for a lot of riders is what they do is they fuel the bike better than they fuel themselves. And the rider is at least 50% of the package. You can have the best bike and it's got the motor and the suspension all done and all the rest of it. But if the rider doesn't have the fitness and strength and energy to be able to get through the race, then all of that stuff's not going to matter. So someone who doesn't have their nutrition dialed in, when they go and race, they tend to be maybe good for the first hour and then they just drop off a cliff. They would describe their experience as like I hit a wall, and they start to drop off and they run out of energy. They might get lightheaded, they might have a headache, they don't have the strength in their legs, they start sitting down more, they start making more silly mistakes. And that's because their body has run out of energy. And there's no amount of training that you can do that will allow you to outdo not fueling yourself properly. So that's where carbohydrate loading comes in and making sure that you're fueling yourself properly for race day and getting yourself to the right weight. When you are fueled properly, the racing is always hard. It's always physically demanding. But you have this push and this energy that allows you to be able to keep going. You're not depleted to the point where you're like, I can't go anymore and I've just got to try and survive and get through, like you see with some of these guys. You're actually at a point where it's hard and it's tough, but you can keep going, you can keep pushing. So you get to these points where you're going up hills and it's really sandy and it's dusty, but you've still got heaps and heaps of energy there to be able to keep pushing and keep moving forward. The fourth one is accountability. So when we first started coaching riders and racers using our Faster Lap system, they told me that what they wanted is more help with the training and the nutrition. And so that's what I gave them. But funnily enough, people weren't finishing the program. So I went back and I gave them more training and more nutrition and harder exercises and really dug into that after doing a survey, because that's what they told me they wanted. Still, riders weren't finishing the program. But why is that? So what I ended up doing is calling each rider individually every single week and having a coaching call with them to hold them accountable with the things that they said they were going to do. And what would you know? Riders actually started to finish the program, and now we have riders that have worked with us 4, 5, 6 years in a row, season after season after season, because they've got that accountability there. What racing feels like these guys, if there's no accountability there to get the stuff done, to get you prepared, it means that your training is hit and miss. It's like you take time off for Christmas, you take time off for New Year, you get busy with work and you slack off, or you get to a gym session and you only do half of it, or you start making up the workouts as you go and don't really have a structured program. And then you get to race season and you're not actually ready. You're not actually ready to be able to go and do what these guys are doing, because the time has gone past. You feel like you've kind of done something, but you kind of haven't, but you haven't got the results to be able to show for it. You don't have the strength and fitness that some of these guys have to be able to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, especially when you're going through like tougher sand sections or like some of the tougher tracks that we've seen so far. When you do have that accountability, you're more consistent with your training and more consistent with your riding. When you're more consistent with your riding and getting it done, then you get better results because you're actually doing the work, you're making progress, you're stacking that progress week after week, month after month. Whereas if you're missing sessions, you're always just trying to catch up from what you've missed. And that's the accountability. That's the difference between the riders that go into this like 6 months before the race season and are ready to rock and roll and ready to race and are actually in a better spot than where they were this year. And then the other guys that have done hit and miss training over these months, pre-season, off-season, going into next year, and are really no better than where they are now. If anything, they're just playing catch-up, trying to get back to where they were this season because they just haven't been consistent. The fifth one's a target race. So we've seen a lot of target races here in this video with different types of events. The reason that target races are important is because that's how we get motivated. That's how we motivate ourselves. We're most motivated to be able to train and do the work when we have something to work towards. We have a target. So think about Google Maps. When you use Google Maps to go to the racetrack and you put the racetrack in Google Maps, it gives you a destination to go to and it gives you a clear path to be able to get there because you know where you're going. And that's the same with racing. If you want to be motivated and you want to be consistent with the training and you want to put all of this stuff into action and get ready, you have to have a target race like these guys have got. Have something that you want to do, whether it's Finke Desert Race, Hattard Desert Race, Romaniac, Baja 1000, whatever it is that you want to do. A motocross race, Hattah, Yellow Mountain, whatever race it is, have a target race that you're like, this is the race that I'm going to do. Because once you put the pin on that race and you're like, yes, I'm 100% doing this race, that's when you're going to get the motivation to be able to start training, because you've got a deadline of when you're going to be ready. Training feels really hard and tedious when you don't have a target race. If you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to train and see how I go, and yeah, maybe I might do some racing, I might do this and I might do that, it's very hard to get yourself motivated and in the zone to be able to train hard and to be able to get on the bike and push through when it gets tough, because it will get tough at some point. The thing that's going to let you push through is having that target. So it's very hard to keep yourself motivated and be able to ride super sandy tracks like this that are very physically demanding and do them at the best of your ability when you don't have a target to work towards. It's easy to pull out. It's easy to get to these races like this where it's really sandy and physically demanding and pull out, or can't pull out before the race even starts, or get to the race day and then just pull out halfway through and go, oh, this is too hard, and go home. Or even worse, just coast around and just trying to finish. Like, you don't want to be in survival mode going into these races. You want to be able to get out there and perform and give it a good effort. So when you have a target race, when you get to that target race, what it feels like is you're prepared, you're organized, you can get out there. Like, look at some of these guys racing, right? They're so confident and they're pushing really, really hard. They're really physically strong, they're fit, they're ready to go, they're attacking the track. Whereas if you look at some of the guys that are down the back, which we haven't seen too much footage of, they're the guys that are coasting around just trying to survive, that haven't prepared, that haven't done their organisation. And it's not, most of the time it's not even to do with the skills. The skills are there, or somewhat there. They don't have the fitness and strength there to be able to go the distance and ride how they want to ride. And so when you are prepared and you go in, you have this confidence. Like, you feel really excited to go racing because you know that you've put in the work. You know that the other guys probably haven't put in as much work as what you have. And that gets you excited for the next race because you go there and you have a great experience. You're not coming away from race day going, oh, that was shit. Like, I don't even know why I enter these races. Like, that was so hard. I don't know if I want to do that again. You come away from the race going, hell yeah, that was really, really fun. I want to push harder and push my training more and dial in my nutrition more and set another target race so that I can perform at my best. So they're the 5 areas. If you'd like some help implementing these areas into your own training going into racing season, you're more than welcome to apply for our Faster Laps program. I'll put the link in the comments or the description. I'll reach out to you, find out a little bit more about your racing and see if we can help.